Hey, I'm Kayla. Welcome to my channel, the Booktube Turtle. In today's video, I'm going to be doing the Booktube Newbie Tag. Question number 1. Why did you start this channel? So, this was a very spur-of-the-moment thing. Like, not even a week ago, this wasn't even in my mind. I found out about Booktube a little over a year ago, and I decided that it was finally time to actually start a channel. Question number 2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? So one of the things is I'm also a writer, and I feel like that makes me have a different perspective on the books that I read because I also write, so I can look at it from a reading point of view and a writing point of view. I'm also planning to make writing videos on this same channel. There's also this thing I want to do, kind of like a video series of kind of like documenting my booktubing experience and trying to figure out how all of this works, and kind of like a behind the scenes type of thing, and just talking about the problems and the good things and the confusing things and everything that comes along with starting a booktubing channel, because it's been about 2 days and I have no idea what I'm doing. Something else is that I read a lot of books that you don't hear about on Booktube. Like a lot of them will be books that are either like through Kindle, either free or like discounted books that are like self-published, and I read a lot of those, and I'm planning to do videos about that. Okay, so question number 3. What are you most excited for about this new channel? So one of the biggest ones obviously is getting to talk about books, because books. No one else in my family really reads the same types of books that I do, and most of my friends from school don't really read very much, and definitely not as much as I do, so I don't really get to talk about books very often. And then also just meeting other people in the Booktube community that share similar interests. Question number 4. Why do you love reading? So many reasons. I have always loved reading, ever since I was like physically able to read, like kindergarten, first grade, when you're learning to read, I've been reading. At this point in my life, I love reading because life gets stressful and crazy, and reading is a way to kind of take a break from the real world. And you know, I love writing, and reading as much as you possibly can is going to help that. And I just love connecting with the characters and learning about plot lines and places and everything that goes along with that. It's really hard to sum up that question because it's so expansive. Question number 5. What book series got you into reading? Okay, so I have several answers for this depending on what exactly it means. You know, like I said, I started reading chapter books like first grade, but I'd say the series that most got me into reading is probably the answer for a lot of people, but Harry Potter. I read it for the first time when I was in 6th grade. It was pretty much all I read throughout middle school. I read the entire series 11 times within those 3 years. And like, I read other things too. Middle school was when I read Twilight and The Hunger Games, but I always kept coming back to Harry Potter. And I really think reading that was the first time that it was like I was so immersed in the story, and I wanted to feel that feeling from other books. That's what got me into the kind of reading that I do now. And then of course my reading increased quite a bit after I discovered Booktube, because there were so many books that I didn't even know about, and then, you know, hearing about them on Booktube, I'm like, oh, I need to read that, I need to read this. And so I think Booktube also got me to branch out and read more. Question number 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Okay, well, one of them would be, how do you manage your time? Because I've only been doing this for not even a whole week, and finding time to film and then finding time to edit it's crazy. And then also dealing with life things. I'm out of school right now, so I don't know what's gonna happen when I go back to school, and like balancing that with this, and then also having time to read the books that I'm gonna be talking about and write my book, because there's not enough time in the day. But I'm really excited and trying to plan things out and hopefully figure out how to manage my time to do everything. Question 7. What challenges do you think starting a channel will be the hardest to overcome? Well, aside from, managing my time and figuring out how to get like a steady upload schedule, just how awkward I am. I'm very introverted, and sitting right here talking to a camera right now is really weird, and it's gonna take some time to get used to, and just to be more outgoing is gonna be a challenge, but we'll see what happens. So it's exciting but terrifying at the same time. Question 8. When did you start reading? I feel like I've kind of already answered this. I've been reading since I could read, but Harry Potter was what got me to read more, and then finding Booktube, I was reading all kinds of different things. Question 9. Where do you read? Anywhere. I love to read in my bedroom, like on my bed, especially before I go to bed. I always read because it helps me sleep. When I get home from school, I always eat a snack, so I'll take my book in the kitchen with me and read while I'm eating my snack. I always take a book to school with me, and if I'm reading something on my Kindle, then I'll just take my Kindle, or I have a Kindle app on my phone. Sometimes it's harder to bring like giant books places with you. I mean, if I have to, I'll do it. So yeah, I'll read anywhere. And finally, question 10. What kind of books do you like to read? I mostly read fantasy and science fiction and dystopian, as you can probably see from the books behind me. I love books that don't take place in our real world, which this year I have been reading more contemporary and I'm more open to realistic fiction. I just prefer fantasy or sci-fi dystopian type of books. Though within fantasy, I do prefer more of like urban fantasy, like the Mortal Instruments series, versus like high fantasy. Even though Throne of Glass is high fantasy and it's one of my favorite series, but high fantasy can sometimes be hard for me to get into. Okay, so that's it for the Booktube Newbie Tag. I hope you enjoyed this video and got to know a little bit more about me. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!